Good morning. I am the Director of Safety and Permits, Tammy Jackson. As the Director of Safety and Permits, this is the department responsible for the administration of the Healthy Homes Program. Healthy Home Specialist and Taylor will be reading the proposed regulations, after which public comment will be taken. Comments will be limited to 2 minutes per person with no ceding of time.
Proposed regulations governing implementation of the Healthy Homes Program. The authority pursuant to Section 26 of the Code, the City Code and City Council Ordinance 33,898 MCS approved on November 3rd, 2022, the Department of Code Enforcement of the City of New Orleans proposes the following rules and regulations relative to the implementation of the Healthy Homes Program, including but not limited to regulations for determining compliance with the requirements for an inspection of residential rental properties. Regulations. These regulations shall apply to all properties that are designated residential rental properties located within Orleans Parish. Inspections. A rental housing unit leased for occupancy in Orleans Parish shall comply with minimum rental standards. Upon receipt of a complaint of substandard conditions, a Healthy Homes inspector stationed within the Department of Code Enforcement will be sent to the property to review it for minimum rental standards. This inspection will include a review of the following: expanding upon the legal requirements of Healthy Homes. 1, applicable fire and smoke detection systems and alarms. Inspectors must be able to view and test the detectors. 2, sinks, lavatories, showers, etc. The inspector will verify that the unit contains at least one of each of the following: bathtubs or shower, lavatories with a flush type water closet or toilet, and a kitchen sink. The plumbing fixtures associated with these installations shall be visibly inspected for signs of unsanitary conditions or improper working order. Such signs may include, but are not limited to, leaks, holes in pipes, drips from pipes, foul odors, and the presence of noxious water or sewage. Hot and cold water must be operable on all sinks, bathtubs, lavatories, and showers. The inspector will turn on all taps to ensure that they, 1, work, and both hot and cold water is visible. Toilets will be flushed to test that they are operable. This inspection, 2B, may be waived if 1, the unit is currently rented, the renter is present for the inspection, and the renter confirms that all hot and cold water works properly. Water temperature will be tested with a thermometer. In particular, all sinks, bathtubs, lavatories, and showers must reach a minimum of 110 degrees Fahrenheit. This inspection, 2C, may be waived if the unit is currently rented, the renter is present for the inspection, and the renter confirms that the hot water temperature is sufficient. Heating and cooling. Thermometers will be used in all living areas to confirm that the temperature in the area reaches 68 degrees Fahrenheit or higher after setting the temperature on the heating mechanism after a reasonable time period. Living areas are defined as habitable rooms, bathrooms, and toilet rooms. The heating mechanism must not be a cooking appliance. This inspection, 3A, may be waived if the unit is currently rented, the renter is present for the inspection, and the renter confirms that the heating mechanism suffices in all living areas. Thermometers will be used in all bedrooms to confirm that the temperature in the area reaches 80 degrees Fahrenheit or less after setting the temperature on the cooling mechanism after a reasonable time period. The temperature will be measured at a point 3 feet above the floor and 2 feet from exterior walls. The inspection, 3B, may be waived if the unit is currently rented, the renter is present for the inspection, and the renter confirms that the cooling mechanism suffices in all bedrooms. General electrical. The inspector will conduct a visible inspection on the electrical system and will randomly test components, for example, light switches, to ensure that they work. Overuse of extension cords is not allowed. The inspector will ensure that power outlets are in working order by randomly testing outlets with a multimeter. The inspector will ensure that no outlets are open, are missing face plates, or have exposed wires. Appliance safety. All appliances located in the residence will have an outlet for its use that is grounded and rated for the appliance. All appliances will be visibly inspected for signs of improper installation or improper working condition. All appliances shall turn on and verify their functionality. This inspection, 5B, may be waived if the unit is currently rented, the renter is present for the inspection, and the renter confirms that all appliances are operational in all living areas. Leaks. The inspector will check all windows, exterior doors, and as visible, roofs for signs of dampness or deterioration. Such signs include, but are not limited to, mold. Interior surfaces. The inspector will examine all interior surfaces to ensure that they are free of significant cracking, decay, or other defects. Exterior. The inspector will examine the exterior of the rental unit and the entire property for signs of rodent harborage or other infestation. Evidence of rodent or other infestation within the rental unit shall constitute a violation of this provision. Overall, if the renter is present during the inspection, the inspector will solicit any information from him or her about possible defects in the rental unit and shall pay special attention during an inspection to those elements of the unit. However, except as provided in 2B, 2C, 3A, 3B, and 5B, the renter's attestation of compliance will not suffice. The inspector must conduct an inspection. Under no condition will an owner's attestation of compliance suffice. Inspection failure. Following a Healthy Homes inspection, if there are non-trivial violations of the provisions of the Healthy Homes Ordinance, assessed and as described above, the inspector will inform the resident and the owner that the resident has failed and that the professional repairs must be completed immediately. If inspectors will complete a Healthy Home, the inspectors will complete a Healthy Homes inspection report and provide it to the Healthy Homes Program Administration for enforcement. If in the course of the inspection or incidental to it, violations of the city's minimum property maintenance MPM code are identified, the inspector will open an MPM case for enforcement through the standard code enforcement process. The Healthy Homes case and the MPM case will be enforced concurrently.
This concludes the reading of the proposed regulations and requirements for procedures of healthy homes. At this time, we will take public comment. Antonio, do we have any cards? I'll start with the online comments. I support healthy homes. Anyone who's renting in Louisiana knows bad landlords can walk all over tenants if they want, leaving them in untenable living situations and financially vulnerable. I'm glad the housing code is finally getting some teeth. Nick Boyd, 1926 Pauline Street, New Orleans, Louisiana, 70117. I write in support of implementing the proposed healthy homes regulations and carrying out this ordinance as it was intended by the council and the community members that spurred them to pass it. I've been a renter in New Orleans since 2012 and have myself experienced the impact of our weak tenant protections relating to basic habitability of rental properties. Time and time again, I've had to weigh the risk of pushing a landlord to fix something in my home against the very real likelihood that could choose to evict me without cause and find another tenant who won't ask them to invest money in their rental property. My current rental house, a shotgun double, was bought by its owner for $31,000 in 1992. The owner also owns 44 other rental properties in the city, all single or double houses bought around the same time period. Despite ongoing structural issues and maintenance repairs needed that one would expect in an old New Orleans house, I worry about risking my home by pushing the management company to actually respond to me when my complaints go unanswered. Before Healthy Homes, they could file an eviction against me for no reason at all, and there would be little recourse to fight it. Now I feel like I can finally advocate for myself if my health is threatened by the condition of the home and don't have to worry that I'll be looking for a new place to live with 10 days notice at the end of the month. My concern about preserving the integrity of this program is really about the longtime residents of our city who endure the kind of harrowing living conditions that regularly make the evening news. This is unacceptable decay and neglect present in the housing stock that is supposed to serve our city's low-income people, people with disabilities, people fleeing domestic violence, people raising children and grandchildren, and people who fuel our city's economy and cultural cachet. Healthy Homes should be the mechanism to start fixing this problem by holding some lawyers accountable and providing meaningful relocation resources to people who have been enduring these conditions because they cannot afford the cost of a move. Please do not back down from your responsibility to hold property owners accountable when they profit off of rental housing with collapsed ceilings, pervasive mold, inoperable AC units, insect and rodent infestations, plumbing failures, unsecured entrances, and all the other tragedies that have been happening in full view of all of us for years and years at some of these apartment complexes. Please do not let landlords tell you that it is too costly or burdensome to make sure their properties meet minimum habitability standards. Also, after many years of failing to invest in property maintenance. Please ask yourself whether you think a child should be allowed to grow up in a home in our city without their parent knowing that if that home is full of mold or doesn't have a door that locks or the AC doesn't work for weeks on end, that there's prompt recourse to hold the property owner accountable. Thank you, Molly Gordon. Okay. We'll start with the in-person comments. Myron Katz. Dr. Myron Katz. Should be in order.
Hello, I have written prepared statement, which will take about the same amount of time or less than the one that was just read. So I know it's not going to be under 2 minutes, but it won't be a lot longer. So let me read it from my own email. Okay. So salient points. And by the way, I'm delighted to email this to you if I get your email address. I didn't know who was going to be listening. Fire safety is much more than whether there are functioning smoke and carbon dioxide detectors, which it seems to be the current rules. New technology, photoelectric smoke detectors are far better than the ionization detectors we have been using for decades, which Consumer Report does not appreciate that the photoelectric is better. The old stuff should be rapidly phased out. The experts who really know are our fire department employees who corrected me on some of the following. Never put a smoke alarm in a kitchen, even though the standard specification says put an alarm in every bedroom and every adjacent room. If needed in rooms near bathrooms, carefully place detectors where they will avoid suspended water droplets from causing false alarms. Replace all detectors with those that employ 5 to 10-year lithium-ion batteries. Wired ones are not as good. Deploy detectors that self-test many times a day and report the source of detected smoke and its location. Because false alarms are more likely with dirty detectors, they must be cleaned monthly. H, frequent false alarms often cause tenants to disable them. I, at only a minor increase in first costs and $5 per month per building, recurring costs. Deploy systems that will monitor 24/7 and call the fire department if not informed by the tenant that this was a false alarm. And J,
Excuse me, sir, your time is up.
I'm talking less than she did. She read something that and spent more time than I did. And this is a very carefully organized thing. I'm a landlord trying to help tenants. And I'm trying to help you distinguish between quality construction and
And
poor.
thank you. You can email your comment. You can email it to Healthy Homes Administration at NOLA.gov. That's, all of the emails are on our webpage,
I just want to say,
as well as it was in the advertisement as well. Next up is
just want to say
Fisher
one other
Schaefer.
thing. If I may, just one other sentence.
No, sir, your time is up. Thank you. You can email your comment. Fisher Schaefer.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Fisher Schaefer. I speak to you as a Acorn member, a tenant, and a landlord. New Orleans is known for Mardi Gras, bad roads, and predatory landlords. The Healthy Homes Ordinance is a great step in the right direction. I would like to see language that requires a termite treatment requirement. The unit I lived in last year had termite feces falling from the ceiling the entire year I lived there. The landlord promised to treat it within 6 months, saying 6 months was the earliest due to scheduling, and he never did. We also had a mouse that persisted for 4 months. The floor coating was peeling the day I moved in. That's not hyperbole. The landlord retained 90% of my security deposit to resurface the floor. Did he do that? No. He replaced the floors entirely and charged me for it. That's fraud. Instead of spending my time as a tenant fixing various things that the landlord should have done, I'd rather spend my time cleaning catch basins so that the stormwater that falls goes below our streets instead of sitting on top of it. That's as my perspective as a tenant. And as a landlord, I'm grateful for the increased oversight. Hopefully you can add some more items that give us better protection, give tenants better protection. But I'm glad that there's more oversight so that greedy landlords don't tarnish the reputation of the good ones. Thank you.
Thank you. Keisha Washington. Then Samantha Huffman.
Good morning, I'm Keisha Washington. Thank you for hearing me this morning. I'm coming to you today as not only a landlord that's owned property for over 25 years, but also a real estate broker in our local city here. I just wanted to ask, what's going on with the compliance regulations for actual tenants? So as a landlord, I've owned property for many, many years, and I'll tell you, it's become such a struggle. I've wanted to market renters as well as housing assisted individuals. And my property gets torn up quite a bit. And I'm there fixing all the time throughout the tenancy as well as after the person moves out. The deposit often doesn't cover the repairs that are needed. And the repairs are bizarre. Sometimes you have faucets broken, you have handles on refrigerators broken, you have a number of things that are just not really shouldn't be broken or normal wear and tear according to the lease. So my question today, and I would have a concern with making sure that the tenants also have either some life management skills or some courses, information provided to them so that they can also be better tenants. I do understand where all of this came from, an apartment in the East. I'm a resident of New Orleans East, and many of the housing apartment complexes out there are in disarray. So I'm glad that attention is being called to that. I hope that if they're receiving these tax breaks, they can really make these units look better for the community because they are eyesores. But it is a lack of code enforcement, in my opinion. for many, many years. So there's several variables I just think that need to be addressed along with this, and more so with larger complexes than with smaller individual owners such as myself. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Washington. Samantha Huffman.
Hello, I'm Samantha Huffman. I am currently a renter. I recently rented my apartment 6 months ago, and it looked like a really nice apartment. It fitted my needs, but I noticed that there was some mold issues, particularly in the AC. And when I addressed it to my landlord, he's like, no, it's not mold, it's mildew, and I don't have the money to fix it. Within the period of the next few months with the road restoration, with the plumbing that's happening throughout the city, my house started cracking, like the exterior wall started falling off. My home is completely covered in tarps. The mold issue has gotten worse. My foundation's cracking, we have plumbing issues, and he'll send the maintenance man over to check on it or fix things, but they don't ultimately get fixed. And when I made a really big fuss about the mold issue, he mailed me Tilex in the mail to put in my ACs and on the walls. And some of my interior ceiling walls are starting to cave in because of the water damage. I tried to use the repair and deduct law that the renters do have, but he wouldn't give me an official mailing address so I could mail it to him. So I had a mold test done. It came back positive, and now I'm facing an eviction because I paid most of my rent minus the mold test that he won't fix mold. So he'd rather kick me out, and I've only been there for 6 months. My roommate's also terminally ill, and the location is really important for her care. So I just wanted to share my story so that I can share some of my experience as a tenant and how I don't really actually have very many rights compared to my landlord, who is abusing his rights and neglecting his property.
Ma'am,
And
your
he's
time-
also trying to file a case against
Ma'am,
the
your
city.
time is up.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you for your comments.
Okay.
Mark NASCAR. Then Ella Strahan.
Morning. I'm a tenant, and I also recently been renting and managing some properties for a friend. The reason I'm doing this is because some of these big management agencies are not compliant, as I can hear today. My question is about electrical inspections. Now, on all of these 6 rental properties, I carry out an inspection on a regular basis, but I'm not a trained electrician. I'm competent, but I'm not trained. So under this new regulations, when someone comes around, is there a minimum standard for a qualified electrician to do an inspection, or as a competent person, can I carry on doing those inspections? Thank you.
Thank you. Ella Strahan.
Good morning, y'all. My name is Ella Catherine Strahan. I'm a policy analyst at Louisiana Fair Housing Action Center, 1340 Porter Street, Suite 710. After a decade of efforts by our community to create a rental registry and ensure the health and safety of rental housing in New Orleans, we are pleased to see the Healthy Homes program being implemented. New Orleans has a legacy of substandard housing, with renters paying hard-earned money and premium prices to live in homes that threaten their health and safety. This is especially true for low-income families of color, so we are glad to see that the city will have another way to hold slumlords accountable. We also want to note that these minimal safety standards are the bare minimum of what a landlord should be providing. Smoke detectors, toilets, heat and air conditioning, safe electrical outlets, leak and hole-free ceilings and hole floors. Any property owner in the commercial enterprise of being a landlord should be easily able to meet these standards and shouldn't be worried about tenant complaints if they actively respond to these requests for repairs. We look forward to continued engagement with the Healthy Homes program to see bad actors held accountable and good actors rewarded. The safety and health of New Orleanians should continue to be held as a priority because everyone deserves a safe and healthy place to call home.
Thank you. And there have been 5 online comments, all anonymous. What is the plan for enforcing this ordinance in a way that holds slumlords accountable without punishing responsible property owners for damages caused by renters? Number 2, two-part question, will landlords participate in rental assistance programs? Be required to show proof of certification? Will rental rates for housing programs be increased as an incentive for responsive landlords to participate in the aforementioned? The third comment. While all people deserve a safe, healthy place to live, small mom and pop landlords should not be held to the same requirements as large, usually commercially owned rental units. There needs to be funding available specifically for small landlords to meet requirements. Our profit margin is very small, if anything, once taxes, fees, and insurance are paid. Let's not mention repair costs after each move out. In addition to this new requirement, there needs to be implemented a healthy house training for tenants, some living on their own for the first time. No one should get subsidized housing without taking a training class on healthy homes living. How to take care of a home and prevent damage that landlords get blamed for. It is very expensive to repair the same things over and over again. Sadly, some people have no clue on how to maintain a house even for their own benefit. The answer is not simply get better tenants. Small landlords, some of whom are doing their best to hold on to family property, need support and not just burdens. With no support, this makes small landlords wonder if. That was a 2-minute comment. The 4th comment, hello, I applaud this program and that complaint process that enables renters to have some recourse for our experiences. After having my house sold in Gentilly, house I rented from, not owned, the new landlord did not begin her ownership of the home with an active lease for us. While going over the details for that lease, it was decided that we would not be a good fit for the home anymore, and we needed to move out in about a month, which was the end of the year, holidays 2023. And we also got COVID during that time while house hunting, packing, and looking for a new place. We got to our new place December 31st, January 1st, and many things were not ready to go, not cleaned up, some not operational, and the realtor who sold us on the home lied about many things prior to us committing to the lease, including that the landlord not only lives in New Orleans, but on the property, and so we share a property with not 1, but 2 families. While Healthy Homes does not explicitly address this misleading behavior and tactics of realtors, it does begin to create a system of housing justice and responsibility to renters are more than just peasants who owe money, but as full human beings that don't just deserve a house, but a home. Renters here are at the mercy of a pretty unaffordable housing market right now, and to a pretty unreliable system of landlords and ownership classes here in New Orleans and Louisiana. I think Healthy Homes is an excellent step in the right direction. More of this, please. The 5th and final comment. Responsible, ethical landlords are the rule rather than the exception and have every incentive to preserve the value of their properties, which includes keeping them in good, safe condition to retain good tenants. These good landlords will be funding a new level of bureaucracy to go after the few bad landlords. Many of the new standards are covered by current code enforcement rules, and some are vague and subject to varying interpretations. Further, housing assistance agencies already have an annual inspection. If a property is rented to housing assistance agency tenants, those properties should be exempt from this additional level of fees and reporting. The additional fees will be passed on to tenants and higher rents, just as the ever-increasing cost of insurance is resulting in higher rents. Requiring the disclosure of the owner or manager's home address is an invasion of privacy and could create a dangerous situation for the owner or manager from a disgruntled tenant. It is presumed that a landlord has violated the new anti-retaliation rules if the landlord evicts within 6 months or a complaint. So a tenant can make a complaint, the landlord remedy the problem, and the tenant cease paying rent in 3 months. Then the landlord evicts for non-payment of rent, but is presumed to be in violation of this new ordinance. Investors who now provide affordable housing in Orleans will go to other parishes if these new ordinances become too costly or otherwise too onerous. That is the final comment. And this concludes the reading of the proposed rules for the Healthy Homes Program. We encourage you to look at our website, NOLA.gov, Healthy Homes.